Gender equality and women's empowerment are critical to achieving sustainable development. With the continued impacts of climate change and economic crisis, research tells us it has become ever more critical to increase women's empowerment, which will have a multiplier effect for all of society: accelerated national and local economic growth, poverty reduction, and improved food security for communities and families. Recognizing that women are strongly engaged in key sectors as farmers, food producers, and as local artisans selling traditional and eco-friendly products, UN Women and its implementing partners, the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, the Competitiveness Company, Ministries of Agriculture, and the Dominica National Council of Women sought to enhance women's direct access to the marketplace, to increase women's access to emerging technologies, knowledge, and skills, and principally to strengthen women's voice and leadership in their sector. Through the support of the implementing partners, producers in the Bahamas, Dominica and Jamaica are working to overcome local bottlenecks around building viable marketing networks across a span of rural and remote islands. The producers are also facing increasingly unprotected local food production markets, the impacts of longer periods of drought, and limited access to irrigation technologies. These challenges are all the more critical where an estimated 60% of the women in one country see their livelihoods threatened by declining national agricultural production.
When we look at our economy, that's the only way out. I was in the classroom and it wasn't making much of a great difference, and it is better for us to feed ourselves.
We are not in an era where we have job frequently, so I would advise someone to go into farming because you can see something out of it, not all the while. But farming is very important, so you don't have to go to the market to buy everything that you want to eat.
I made my house from farming, and I also purchased a piece of land out of farming too. Farming is what I depend on.
Women face a number of gender-specific challenges such as limited formal ownership of land and assets, which impacts their access to microcredit, limited voice in influencing the policies which shape the growth in their respective sectors, the persistent challenge of balancing family responsibilities with work outside their homes. These factors all impact women farmers and women artisans' competitiveness in the local and national markets. The production of handicraft, gifts, and souvenir products have long been a tradition of the Bahamian people, and in some instances their only or main means of making a living. Women have always been strongly present in this sector, and through IICA's support are coming together to ensure sustainable livelihoods.
It means a lot to me. It's grocery, the bills, and my daughter. I school her out of this.
Well, on a salary that I make, when I retire, I need something to help me pay some bills.
Similarly, research has shown there are lucrative markets for the production of locally grown hot peppers in Jamaica and onions in Dominica.
I realize that most of the crops sometimes there is a lot on the market. So I chose to kind of diversify that when all the orders, there is no sale for it, then I would have a good market for my onions.
Based on our market research, Dominica, a small population, we consume or we spend in importing onions alone more than $1 million easy in onions. So that is, if the farmers, as I told them, if we can become self-sufficient on the production of onion, then we can think export.
Making inroads into promising agricultural markets requires a dependable water supply, since farmers either face loss of crops as a result of too little rainfall or too much. The UN Women-funded program provided on-site water harvesting and irrigation systems.
There's a river close by, in close proximity to my farm, so we have gotten irrigation system and we have gotten pumps, so that minimizes the hassle in getting the water up to me. So what I will do, along with my handyman, will take the pump down to the river, pump the water, store it into the tank, and from there we use it to irrigate the farm.
Oh, it helped me a lot because I had never known anything about irrigation before I got it and got the training how to deal with it. And since I've got it, I make up my own shed to catch my water. Wish I never have that idea. We always set jump or go to tanks that not covered or far to get the water to use. So I make my own shed. So when the tank is filled, I can fill jumps from it and all of that and some buckets.
I used to bring water from the standpipe, which is a great distance, in drums to wet the onions before I got the irrigation system. But now that I have it, I'm making proper use of it. Because after I've reaped my onions, I have 4 late beds, as you can see. I am doing lettuce, cucumbers, melons, sorrel, cabbages, and different type of cabbages, peppers. I'm doing that until the season come back.
While women farmers have traditionally utilized climate-friendly methods to protect their crops, they have had limited access to the new approaches and technologies available to ensure greater crop resiliency. Through the support of the Dominican National Council of Women, IICA and the Ministry of Agriculture, Dominican women have been better able to protect their crops from the impact of climate change.
So in Dominica, what the women do, they would harvest the onions and then they would hang it up to allow it to dry. That only allows for a small amount of onions at any one time. Whereas if a person is into production of a sizable plot, let's just say a half an acre plot, which is a considerable amount of onions to deal with, you need the facilities to allow you to do the selection, to allow you to do the drying, as well as the curing of the bulbs before you package them for the market.
After the onions, they call it snap, which is like they bend their green leaves like that. They can't take any more water. They'll start to rot. So as long when it starts raining, you need to get them out of the rain.
UN Women's partnerships on the ground have focused on strengthening the networks of women producers. At the heart of this strategy is the idea that women coming together as a collective will have improved access to more affordable materials, emerging technology, and marketing standards. The establishment of a national rural women producers network in the Bahamas and led by President Emily Rahman is expected to significantly improve coordination of supplying the Bahamas craft markets.
So I think that face-to-face contact is extremely important, and now that she's done that on a lot of the islands, I think that she's well on her way in terms of she has reliable people in those islands who can get the products for her and they will put it on the boat. That's a sure way that they'll be able to network and get the products reliably and on time.
In the UN Women-supported projects targeting women farmers, an early achievement has been a marked shift of women from once operating in the informal economy to now being more active in the protected formal economy. This was achieved in part through training in business management and eco-friendly sustainable farming, which is resulting in in-demand local produce.
How to fertilize, when to fertilize, how to sow the onion seeds, at what time you should fertilize, at what time you should start looking for, insects, what kind of insects you should be looking for. If you have fungus, what should happen if you have fungus on the onion leaves. And so we had a whole session with the Ministry of Agriculture.
We know how to keep our records. We know when we are losing from when we are not losing. We know how to take care of the soil management. What we do on our farm waste, like the grass and all of that we cut, we have a compost bin that we get the California earthworm. We use it to make fertilizer, to vermicompost bin, to use on the plant, so we use less chemical fertilizer. That take care of the soil as well, because it build up nutrients in the soil.
The irrigation is a means to developing a group of more sophisticated farmers who understand crop selection better, who understand the importance of growing to a schedule that meets market demand, that develop linkages with the market so that they can sell their crops at the right time and for decent returns.
The economy here is dominated by tourism and financial services and some other services. So the economy needs to strengthen all other sectors. So through this, I think that definitely we get especially women involved in more activities that can produce income in these communities that has been lacking.
At the art gallery, we try to promote all kinds of arts and crafts. And also we have a shop, and we really think it's extremely important that we have authentically made Bahamian products in that shop. And we feel it's very important that people that visit our country take home authentic products. Unfortunately, I see a lot of products in several downtown locations that are not made in the Bahamas and that are copies of what we do. So I think it's very important that this project's been put into place to allow women to find work, women on the outer islands where it's much harder, and that we're continuing to support this very important craft and traditional art form of the Bahamas.
One of the main shell craft trainers. And she was saying that we have beautiful beaches, we're known for our beaches, and it's like picking up free money off the floor, you have shells there. Pick up your shells. The straw that they use comes from a plant called top. They call it top or silver top. It's a palm, it's common on most of the islands. And they basically, they cut the top, and they know that if you cut this particular branch of the tree, you have to leave this side so that it'd be able to replenish itself.
To ensure the sustainability of these initiatives, when designing the country-level programs, UN Women emphasized the need for forging non-traditional partnerships between women's NGOs, the government gender bureaus, and agricultural organizations.
With us doing the project, it actually helped them to improve themselves. So we have a better relationship with the Ministry of Agriculture. We have a better relationship with IICA, because we used to work with them, but not as closely. The NCW, we were always an affiliate member, but for the project we had to actually work with them. So our relationship, we really build a better relationship.
We have had some success in its implementation. We were challenged, but that was part of the learning process. And in a nutshell, I think the Onion Project is a good model, especially where we're looking to develop groups, where we're looking to get women to join together or youth to join together in terms of engaging in some activity, agricultural activity.
It was a big learning experience for us. So we got to network with a lot of different people, and because of this project, we are able to spin off into some other projects agriculturally. We have a lot of women who are interested in their agri-processing and even farming on a larger scale.
The project stakeholders are encouraged by the early successes of the projects from which they can realize sustainable long-term gains.
The greatest benefit is the satisfaction that the farmers themselves see at the end of it. The challenge of doing it, and then at the end of it they can actually have some money in their pocket within a short space of time.
So if more women get themselves involved in the onion, it will help us that we could get a market. So when all the women get together and produce and make a cooperative, we could sell to the supermarkets instead of the supermarket ordering from other country.
UN Women will continue to work with implementing partners throughout the Caribbean to foster rural women's leadership, as they are key actors in the sustained economic growth of Caribbean countries.
One of the strengths is you can get ideas from one another. And basically that's what this group is basically all about. You help me, I help you. That's basically the main source, and having companionship with the people or the ladies in the community. It brings us closer together.
And I thank you all very much for coming and to help us, because it could be a great help for us here in our community, especially because most of us doesn't work, there's another job, and with the same craft that we are doing, and if we could get them sell, it would help everyone.
The help that I get from you, the UN Women, I'm grateful for you. You give me a big start. I really appreciate, you really helped me to achieve a lot, and I can go further in my farming.
Education is life. The tool that I got from the Competitiveness Company, they teach us how to fish. They give us first-hand education that can take us through life.